Hi everybody, we're going to do our C League questions. This is the 10-point question review. So I'm going to go over all your questions so that you can just study and look at this video over and over and over and over again. That way you won't have to worry about trying to find time to study. You can just watch this video whenever you want to study. You can watch it every single day and that would be amazing. So let's get started. Ready? So question number 1, what is the Bible? Remember that song? The Bible is the inspired word of God and is his revelation to all people of himself and his plan of salvation. Number 2, how many books are there in the Bible? 66. What are the 2 divisions of the Bible? Old Testament and New Testament. What does testament mean? Covenant. Number 5, how many books are in the Old, that's when you buzz, Testament? 39, because remember 39 is so old, right? And what language is most of the Old Testament written? Hebrew. How many books are in the New Testament? That is 27, because that is such a new number, 27. In what language is most of the New Testament written? Greek. About how many people did God inspire to write the Bible? 40. Approximately, how many years did it take to write the Bible? 1,600 years. Number 11, which book of the Bible tells about the beginnings of the world? That's Genesis, the world. What are the 4 Gospels? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. What does the word gospel mean? Remember, gospel, gospel is good news. 14, what is the theme of the 4 Gospels? The life and teaching of Jesus. Number 15, who wrote more books of the Bible than any other person? Paul. He had a tired hand. Which book of the Bible tells about the beginnings of the church? That's Acts. Which New Testament book is composed almost entirely of prophecies of the future? Revelation. Which of the Old Testament books is a collection of hymns and songs? And the answer is Psalms. It sounds like songs, but it's Psalms. Who wrote many of the Psalms? King David. Question 20. What is an epistle? An epistle is a letter sent by an apostle. What is the longest book of the Bible? Psalms. Question 22. What is the shortest chapter of the Bible? Psalms 117, because remember 117 is littler than the next one. What is the longest chapter in the Bible? Psalms 119. Question number 24, quotation question. Where did the universe come from? And there's a song that goes with that. Are you ready? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1. This is where the universe came from. Who were the first man and first woman? Adam and Eve. You guys all know that one. Question number 26. How are people different from animals? God created people in his own image. Question number 27. Who were the first 2 brothers? Cain and Abel. Question number 28. Who was the first murderer? Cain. Remember, because we pictured him with a big cane hitting his brother Abel. So Cain was the first murderer. Question number 29. How did sin enter the world? Through the disobedience of Adam and Eve. Question number 30. The account of man's first sin mentioned what 2 trees? We have the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. Question number 31. What man walked with God until God took him to heaven without dying? Enoch. Question 32. Who lived longer than any other person, and how long did he live? Methuselah, 969 years. That's a long time. Question number 34. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 33. Why did God send a flood upon the earth? Because the people were so wicked that they thought about evil all the time. Question number 34. Whom did God spare from the flood, from the great flood? Noah and his family. Question number 35. Who were the three sons of Noah? Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Number 36. When the flood came, how long did it rain? 40 days and 40 nights. Question number 37. What was the meaning of the first rainbow? It was God's promise that the world would never again be destroyed by a flood. It might have floods in some parts of the world, but there's never going to be a flood over the whole earth to destroy it all again. Question 38. After the flood, how did the people rebel against God? By building a tower to reach heaven. Question number 39. How did God judge the people who built the Tower of Babel? By confusing their languages so they couldn't understand one another. Question number 40. How did God test Abraham's faith when he asked him to leave Ur of the Chaldees? By asking Abraham to follow him without telling him where he would lead him. He said, come follow me, but I'm not telling you where we're going. We're not going to do it. Question number 41. Who was Abraham's nephew? Lot. Question 42. What was the original name of the country God promised to Abraham? Canaan. Question 43. Who was Abraham's wife? Sarah. Question 44. To what country did Abraham go in time of famine? Remember, Egypt. Question 45. Why was it wrong for Lot to live in Sodom? Because the men of Sodom were very wicked sinners. Let's see here. Question 46. Who was Melchizedek? Priest of God and king of Salem. Question 47. What was the name of the son born to Abraham and Hagar? Ishmael. Question 48. What two cities did God destroy? What two cities did God destroy with fire because of their great wickedness? It was Sodom and Gomorrah. Question number 49. What was the name of the son born to Abraham and Sarah? Isaac. Question 50. How old were Abraham and Sarah when Isaac was born? Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah was 90 years old. All right, let's move on. Question 51. Who was Isaac's wife? Rebecca. Question 52. Who were the twin sons of Isaac and Rebecca? Esau and Jacob. Remember that? Question 53. What did Esau sell to Jacob? His birthright. How did Jacob obtain the blessing of the firstborn son instead of Esau? By making his father, whose name was Isaac, by making Isaac, his father, think he was Esau. He tricked him. He's like, hey, I'm Esau. But he's really Jacob. That was really bad. And he's like, you sound like Jacob. He's like, well, just touch my hand. I'm hairy. And he had hair on there and he touched him. He's like, I guess so. You kind of feel like him. So I guess you're Esau. So how did Jacob obtain the blessing of the firstborn son instead of Esau? By making his father Isaac think he was Esau. Question 55. Where did Jacob have a dream of a ladder reaching all the way to heaven? Bethel. Let's see here. Question 56. Who was the mother of Joseph and Benjamin? Rachel. Question 57. What new name did God give to Jacob and what did it mean? This is my favorite because there's a little boy on the CD. If you guys listen to the CD in the car, he has this cute little voice and he says, Israel, which means he struggles with God. So I always think of that when I see this question. So what new name did God give to Jacob and what did it mean? Israel, which means he struggles with God. Question 58. What special meaning did Joseph's dreams have? That he would be a great ruler someday and his whole family would bow down to him. Question 59. How did Jacob show his special love for Joseph? By giving him a coat of many colors. Into what country was Joseph sold as a slave? Egypt. Question 61. Who was Joseph's first master in Egypt? Potiphar. Remember? Potiphar. What happened to Joseph when he refused to commit sin with his master's wife? He was put into prison. Question 63. Whose dreams did Joseph interpret while in prison? Pharaoh's baker and cupbearer, right? Question 64. What did Joseph say was the meaning of the king's dream? 7 good years would be followed by 7 years of famine. Question 65. Whom did Pharaoh appoint to prepare for the famine? Joseph. Question 66. What are the names of the 2 sons of Joseph? Ephraim and Manasseh. Question 67. Why did Joseph's brothers come to Egypt? To buy some food. Question 68. Where did Jacob and his family settle in Egypt? Goshen with Roshan. Goshen. 69. Who was the baby that Pharaoh's daughter found floating in the river? It's baby Moses. Question 70. Why did Moses flee from Egypt? Because it was known that he had killed an Egyptian who was mistreating or being mean. You can say either one. Who was mistreating or being mean to an Israelite. Question 71. Who was Moses' father-in-law and what was his position? Jethro, priest of Midian. Question 72. Where did God appear to Moses out of the burning bush? Mount Horeb or Mount Sinai. Question 73. What promise did God make to Moses at the burning bush? That God would rescue the children of Israel out of Egypt. Question 74. How did God persuade Pharaoh to let the Israelites go? By sending 10 plagues upon the land of Egypt. Question number 75. We're almost done. Whom did God give Moses to help him in bringing the people of Israel out of Egypt? Moses' brother Aaron. Question 76. What was the 10th and last plague that fell upon Egypt? What was it? The death of the firstborn. Question 77. What feast did God establish to remember the Israelites' deliverance from Egypt? Passover. Question 78. By what miracle did Israel leave the land of Egypt? The parting of the sea. 79. What happened to the Egyptians who tried to follow the Israelites through the Red Sea? They all drowned. Let's see here. Who was the sister of Moses? Miriam. Question 81. How did God change the bitter water of Marah into good water? By showing Moses a piece of wood to throw into the water. Question 82. How did God provide bread for the Israelites in the wilderness? By sending manna. Question 83. What miracle did God perform for Moses at Rephidim? He brought water from a rock. Question 84. How did Aaron and Hur help Moses gain the victory over the Amalekites? By holding up Moses' hands. Question 85. On what mountain did God give Moses the 10 commandments? Mount Sinai. Question 86. Quotation question. Which is The first of the 10 commandments, Exodus 20, verse 3. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20, verse 3. Quotation question. Which of the 10 commandments prohibits the worshiping of idols? The commandment that prohibits the worshiping of idols. You shall not make for yourself an image. Exodus 20, verse 4. Quotation question. Which of the 10 commandments prohibits cursing and swearing? Which of the 10 commandments prohibits cursing and swearing? You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. Exodus 20, verse 7. Let's see here. Quotation question. Which of the 10 commandments sets aside one day each week as special unto God? Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Exodus 20, verse 8. Set aside one day each week. 90. What did Paul call the first commandment with promise? Honor your father and your mother. 91. Which of the 10 commandments protects the sacredness of human life? You shall not murder. 92. Which of the 10 commandments protects the sacredness of marriage? Marriage. You shall not commit adultery. Because remember, 2 adults in a tree that are not married, Kissing. Oh my goodness, that's not good. That's adultery. 2 adults in a tree, not married, Kissing. So remember, adultery is, we have to protect the sacredness of marriage, right? You should not commit adultery. Which of the 10 commandments protects our right to own possessions? You shall not steal. Which of the 10 commandments prohibits lying? You shall not give false, that means wrong. False, it's lying. Is it true or is it false? True is the truth. False is a lie. So you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Let's see, 95. Which of the 10 commandments forbids wrong desires? You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. And the last one is, in which book and chapter of the Bible do we find the first record of the 10 commandments? Exodus 20. Very good. Well, that's it. That's all the 10 pointers that you need to know. And I missed my goal. I wanted 15 minutes. It's more like 18, but that's okay. So watch this video when you want to practice. That way you'll know all of the 10 pointer questions, and I'll have a 20 pointer video too. See you guys later. Bye.